What happens when a new scientific discovery seems to break all the old rules? It's a classic story in science. For centuries, Newton's laws of physics were, well, the law. And then along came Einstein, whose ideas about relativity didn't quite fit, suggesting Newton's rulebook was incomplete.
And that's how science moves forward, by finding the exceptions and figuring out the new, deeper rule that explains everything. But what if an AI could help us find those missing rules automatically? What if it could act like a scientific detective?
Well, that's exactly what a new paper proposes. It's about an AI system designed to find the missing pieces in our scientific theories.
Welcome to Daily Papers, where we break down the fascinating research that's shaping our world.
Today, we're talking about a paper called AI Noether, bridging the gap between scientific laws derived by AI systems and canonical knowledge via abductive inference. A bit of a mouthful, but the idea is incredible.
Right, let's break it down. We know AI is fantastic at sifting through massive amounts of data and finding patterns. It can look at data from a telescope or a particle accelerator and spit out a new mathematical formula that perfectly describes what's happening. But the problem is sometimes this new formula, this new discovery, doesn't logically follow from our existing scientific theories. It works, we can see it works, but it doesn't fit with our textbooks. It's like discovering a brilliant new move in chess that wins every time, but no one can figure out how it's legal based on the established rules.
And as a scientist, you can't just say, well, it works. You need to know why. Is the rulebook we're using incomplete, or is one of our old rules slightly wrong? Finding that missing link can take years, sometimes even a genius like Einstein.
This is where the AI system from the paper named AI Noether comes in. It's designed to be that scientific detective. It automates the process of finding the missing piece of the puzzle. It uses a clever form of logic called abductive reasoning.
That sounds complicated, but it's actually something we do every single day. If you walk into your kitchen and see a half-eaten sandwich on the counter, you don't just see a sandwich. You reason backwards. You might think, my roommate must have been here and was running late for work.
Exactly. You're working backwards from an observation, the sandwich, to the most likely explanation. AI Noether does the same thing, but for physics. It takes the new, unexplained discovery, our metaphorical sandwich, and it looks at our existing book of scientific laws, and it works backwards to figure out the most plausible missing law that would connect everything together.
So how on earth does it do that? It sounds like magic. How does a computer reason about the laws of physics?
It uses a really elegant branch of mathematics called algebraic geometry. We don't need to get into the weeds, but here's a simple way to think about it. The AI takes all the known scientific laws, the axioms, and it represents them as a single complex geometric shape.
Okay, so our current understanding of physics is, shape?
In a way, yes. Every single point on the surface of this shape is a possible state of the universe where all our current laws are true. Now, you introduce your new discovery, the formula from the data that doesn't fit. This new formula creates a new separate piece of the geometric shape, a region that wasn't connected to the main body of the theory.
It's like a little island floating off the coast of the mainland of known physics.
Perfect analogy. AI Noether's job is to spot that new island. It mathematically isolates it and then very carefully describes its geometry. And in the language of mathematics, describing that specific shape is the missing law we were looking for. It finds the equation that perfectly defines the island, and that equation is the missing axiom we were looking for.
That's a wild concept, but does it actually work? Have they tested it on anything we might have heard of?
They did, and they used one of the most famous examples in the history of science, Kepler's laws of planetary motion. For a long time, thanks to Johannes Kepler, we knew how the planets moved in their elliptical orbits, but nobody knew why.
Until Isaac Newton came along with his universal law of gravitation. That was the missing why. It was the underlying rule that explained Kepler's observations.
Precisely. So the researchers set up a test. They gave AI Noether all the other relevant laws about motion and forces, but they deliberately left out Newton's law of gravitation. Then they gave it Kepler's law as the new unexplained hypothesis.
So they basically asked it, here's how the planets move, and here are our current rules of motion. What are we missing to connect the two?
That's exactly what they did, and AI Noether, by analyzing the mathematical gap between the existing laws and Kepler's law, generated an equation. And that equation was Newton's law of gravitation. It essentially rediscovered one of the most important laws in the history of physics.
Wow, so it found the missing link all by itself. Of course, the goal here isn't to rediscover things we already know, it's about finding genuinely new laws of nature, right?
Absolutely. Think about the huge amounts of data we're collecting today, from gene sequencing to quantum computing to cosmology. AIs are finding patterns in this data that no human could ever spot, but we need a way to make sense of them to integrate them into our collective knowledge.
So, an AI might find a weird pattern in data from the Large Hadron Collider, and instead of a team of physicists scratching their heads for a decade, AI Noether could step in and say, for this pattern to be true, your standard model of particle physics is likely missing a principle that looks something like this.
It could give scientists a huge head start. It's a tool for bridging the gap between just making accurate predictions, which machine learning is great at, and achieving true scientific understanding.
So it's not just about getting the right answer, but about understanding why it's the right answer. It's an AI designed to help us deepen our knowledge of the universe itself.
You've got it. The system, AI Noether, named after the brilliant mathematician Emmy Noether, by the way, is a powerful new idea for automating one of the most creative and difficult parts of the scientific process.
A fascinating look at a future where AI isn't just a tool for analyzing data, but a partner in forming new theories. That's all the time we have for today on Daily Papers.